there! This is Sally's Book Club. Tune in daily for global literary gems. Carded just for you. Today we're diving into a feminist classic. This is the second volume of The Second Sex, where we'll explore its latter content. In Volume 1, Simone de Beauvoir analyzed women's historical destiny. Constrained by biology, trapped in domestic roles, systematically made into the second sex through laws and culture. Not until the 19th century did feminism help women gain some socio-political standing. Volume I shifts focus from macro to micro, theory to case studies. Beauvoir examines real life challenges women face throughout their lives. What truly restricts female freedom and development? How can women achieve genuine independence and dignity? In this volume, we'll explore key female struggles. First, how does a girl become a woman? Why is womanhood socially constructed rather than biologically determined? What does marriage and family truly mean for women? Thirdly, why does gender inequality persist despite feminist movements? We'll then examine paths toward female liberation and dignity. Let's now delve into Volume I's exploration of women's concrete struggles. Our first question: how does a girl become a woman? Why is femininity a social construct rather than biological destiny? A girl's upbringing shapes womanhood more than biology. Newborns lack gender, consciousness, or understanding of its implications. Infant care remains gender neutral through birth and weaning stages. Toddlers, girls and boys alike, display maternal possessiveness and sibling jealousy. Around age 3, gendered parenting emerges. Boys receive less affection but more tolerance for aggression. Parents even encourage boys to fight with peers, engage in rough games and somewhat risky activities. Through this process, boys gradually learn to use their strength and become accustomed to conflict, challenges, and adventure. For 3 to 4-year-old girls, parents continue giving affectionate cuddles, although socio-coquettish behavior, provide dolls, and dress them like living dolls, teaching girls to behave properly and avoid boyish actions. Gradually, girls become less aggressive, energetic, and adventurous than boys their age. Moreover, girls in childhood gradually understand male dominance in society. At home, she perceives her father's authority as supreme. Through education, she learns that men, not women, rule the world. She feels frustrated. This frustration stems not from gender inequality itself, but from her forced acceptance of being the second sex. Around age 12, girls enter puberty, developing breasts that become burdens. Strangers begin staring and commenting on their bodies in public. Then comes menstruation, one of womanhood's most profound changes. Menstruation brings monthly discomfort, along with fear and shame. Menstrual stains often make girls feel disgusted with their own gender. So this is what being a woman means. How unfortunate. Puberty alters girls' bodies, making them feel more vulnerable. More terrifyingly, they begin losing ground intellectually. De Beauvoir argues this stems largely from girls lacking the encouragement boys receive. Society tells them, become a woman, which means having limited ambitions.
Girls learn their fate depends not on themselves, but their gender.
To gain value, they must cater to male fantasies rather than develop themselves. How to shape oneself according to male ideals. By learning to surrender, please others, and play passive roles. De Beauvoir observes, men dislike tomboys or overly intelligent women. A woman who's too bold, strong, educated, or individualistic intimidates men. This reveals the fundamental difference in male-female upbringing. Boys growing into men can freely set ambitious life goals, like becoming a great inventor, or the world's richest person pursuing self-actualization. Society supports male ambitions while expecting women's primary mission to be domestic duties,
thus creating a conflict between female personal aspirations and gender expectations.
The wilder a woman's dreams become, the stronger her willpower grows, the less feminine charm and male appeal she retains. Some might argue, wait, this describes the past. Modern girls get education and encouragement. Superficially true, but the core issue remains unchanged. Society's support for female careers comes with a caveat. Fulfill domestic obligations first. Example, female entrepreneurs. Scientists always face the question, how do you balance career and family? A question rarely posed to male counterparts. We'll analyze the social phenomenon in depth later.
Young girls consciously absorb these societal messages. Now, let's examine de Beauvoir's analysis. Imagine an ambitious teenage girl realizing her destined dependence. How agonizing to learn her ultimate conquest isn't the world, but a man.
This explains adolescent girls' sensitivity, vulnerability, anger, even self-harm behaviors in extreme cases.
However, such self-harm constitutes symbolic protest, their anger rooted in despair. She wants to resist fate, but in traditional society lacks capability. Her upbringing, emphasizing coquetry over education, renders her powerless to rebel.
Society whispers, don't worry, just find a husband. De Beauvoir expresses profound anger in these analyses. She condemns pushing women onto this convenient path as society's most vicious crime against them.
By sexual maturity around 18 and 19, most women become resigned to their fate. A fate predetermined by gender, securing husband, marriage, family, a transition marking girlhood's end.
This results not from biology, but social conditioning. De Beauvoir's seminal statement, one is not born, but rather becomes woman. The second sex's most famous line. Let's summarize de Beauvoir's analysis of female development. Biological changes increase vulnerability, but upbringing and environment cement gender disadvantage.
Through socialization, girls internalize dependence on male approval as their destiny. This realization completes the transformation into womanhood.
Next, what does marriage, family, truly mean for women? De Beauvoir answers, it means servitude. Though marriage is considered life's milestone, its implications differ radically by gender. Men remain autonomous individuals. Marriage constitutes lifestyle, choice, not destiny. Marriage never becomes man's primary life plan.
For women, marriage equals survival, the sole path to social validation.
Historically, society ordained marriage as woman's fate, girls given as servants to husbands. Even in early 20th century Western society, Beauvoir observed marriage retained most traditional characteristics.
Most women were married, preparing for marriage, or anxious about being unmarried, marriage being the only path to social dignity. A single woman, even financially independent, remains socially incomplete.
This remains true in contemporary Chinese society. An unmarried 40-year-old man is eligible bachelor, while a woman becomes leftover. But what does marriage truly mean for women? Beauvoir sharply notes, it means servicing her husband. Threefold service: sexual intercourse, reproduction, and housework. First, providing sexual services, hence the saying, marriage equals long-term prostitution. Second, childbearing. Pregnancy only gains respect within marriage.
Third, endless, repetitive domestic labor.
Beauvoir's analysis of housework remains brilliant.
She observes, when confined domestically, women make home their universe, their sole reality.
Thus begins the ambition to transform home into a kingdom.
Seeking fulfillment through perfecting domestic space, even romanticizing chores. But this is ultimately a never-ending battle.
Housework's nature: monotonous and cyclical. Daily repetition, washing dishes, mopping floors, dusting, only to restart tomorrow.
Each day repeats the last. Domestic labor offers no creativity, only perpetual torment. This constitutes profound psychological damage.
Society consoles, don't despair, motherhood awaits. Motherhood, the noblest, most beautiful identity. But is this truly the case? According to Beauvoir, the answer is negative. Beauvoir's research shows some women find joy in pregnancy, nurturing, but this isn't universal. Mothers vary. Some find fulfillment through children, others remain bitter, unfulfilled. When society equates motherhood with sanctity, sacrifice, deception begins. This deception confines women to biological functions like breeding animals.
Even affluent women, avoiding chores, remain chained to domestic roles. Middle-class women's primary mission: securing, retaining husbands. They understand their worth. Success depends entirely on husbands.
Maintaining this requires psychological manipulation, balancing freedom control, mastering emotional tactics. Flattery, B is contempt. Submission, B's resistance.
This consumes their time, energy, completely. Result: losing self-identity, becoming husband's shadow.
Let's summarize Beauvoir's analysis of marriage. Family. What marriage means for women.
Marriage remains women's only path to social validation, survival.
Modern marriage preserves most traditional structures. Women's marital obligations, sex, reproduction, domestic labor.
These duties trap women in repetitive, inward-focused lives. Escaping chores doesn't mean escaping domestic imprisonment.
Beauvoir's conclusion becomes clear. Only when marriage ceases being female destiny can women achieve freedom. Only through economic independence can women pursue personal autonomy. Now the question arises, after centuries of feminism, with women entering workplaces globally, why does marriage, family, remain seen as women's inherent attributes? Why do career women still prioritize family over profession? What social reality underlies phrases like marrying well beats career success?
The truth: women frequently choose family over career,
a phenomenon already prevalent during Beauvoir's era. Beauvoir saw this as inevitable in early-stage feminist development. It's just beginning. Men still dominate power structures.
True equality requires grueling struggle that deters many women.
This struggle often wears a deceptively gentle mask. Observe men's cunning attitudes. I support equality, but women will never be the same. They display superficial courtesy, but only in trivial situations. Opening doors, yielding paths. Women shouldn't bear burdens. Enjoy life. Modern version: I earn money, you stay beautiful. Their hope lure women back to domestic roles through apparent benevolence. What about women themselves? Crucial period. Age 1830, peak, mental, physical capacity for career building.
For women, this becomes their most stressful phase. While men focus on careers, single women face marriage pressure, forced to allocate time for grooming, dating. Meanwhile, she harbors a lingering fear that career advancement jeopardizes marriage prospects.
Overachievement generally makes women less appealing to men.
Extraordinary success might even humiliate her partner.
Marriage offers no salvation either.
Modern working women still bear full domestic responsibilities.
Child-rearing remains her duty, not replacing but multiplying tasks.
This overwhelming burden crushes many women. Aged 1830, crucial career-building years, women face distracting pressures.
Society rarely respects female ambition like male counterparts, eroding confidence.
Persistent gender pay gaps and limited promotions compound disadvantages.
Recall The Second Sex, Volume 1. Working women became economic underclass since industrialization.
The wage inequality initially deemed minor grew into systemic oppression. After years of struggle, many women find inadequate returns for their efforts. Career women reaching 30 often face stagnant professional growth.
Meanwhile, housewife peers appear comfortably affluent.
She feels trapped on the hardest path. Consequently, many compromise, abandoning careers or deprioritizing work.
Domestic life seems more respectable and convenient than workplace struggles. Beauvoir observes, without true economic equality and social change, women will keep chasing passive success. Though such choices hinder her self-actualization. Let's recap. Despite modern working women, family, marriage, remain seen as female destiny inevitable in early feminism's development. True gender equality requires prolonged, arduous struggle. We've now understood Beauvoir's analysis of fundamental female dilemmas.
Through upbringing, women internalize domestic fate, trading labor, freedom for security, status. Even with financial independence, systemic inequality persists.
The crucial question: how to achieve liberation? What concrete steps lead to genuine female freedom? This challenge preoccupied Beauvoir's thoughts. Her proposed solutions, first and foremost, WORK, women must work. Beauvoir argues female economic independence dismantles patriarchal systems. Historically, work bridged gender gaps and granted human dignity. Practically, work provides negotiation, power, and authentic choices. Modern women can seize destiny through education and career development. Focusing on academics, skills enables financial autonomy and freedom. Beauvoir acknowledges some women genuinely desire domestic roles, but emphasizes become a person before wife, mother. Only independent women achieve fulfilling marriages and motherhood. Marriage should unite two autonomous individuals, not serve as refuge. Balanced personal growth creates capable mothers. Those who freely choose motherhood with conscious responsibility. In other words, motherhood should be a choice, not a service. Secondly, women shouldn't measure success by male standards. What does this mean exactly? Our society remains patriarchal. Most high achievers are men.
In this context, women often feel pressured to emulate male behavior.
But this constitutes surrendering to patriarchy and self-alienation. Beauvoir argues, women possess unique strengths, richer emotional landscapes, deeper appreciation for beauty and complexity, greater curiosity, empathy, and adaptability. Women experience mortality, time more profoundly than men. Compared to male bravado, women's existential anxiety feels more authentic. They see the absurd underbelly of male-constructed systems. Women could reform rigid masculine paradigms. Thus, female liberation benefits all humanity, not just women. Finally, Beauvoir urges women to pursue true excellence, noting no woman has reached humanity's pinnacle.
This reflects both systemic inequality and female complacency.
As educator, Beauvoir observed common flaws in female students.
Their learning stays diligent, yet superficial.
They equate femininity with rote memorization over critical thinking.
Few experience intellectual adventure's thrilling richness. Thus, women lag in creative, innovative fields.
Similarly, career-wise, women settle for mediocrity too easily.
Many limit ambitions upon basic self-sufficiency.
She tells herself, "As a woman, I've done well enough." Even exceptional women show imperfections in Beauvoir's analysis. Beauvoir specifically examines female writers' cases. She argues Jane Austen and Bronte sisters limited themselves through rational restraint.
Reaching literary excellence exhausted them, leaving no energy for greater heights.
They observed and described worlds without interrogating their contradictions. Thus, Pride and Prejudice and Wuthering Heights lack the profundity of War and Peace, or The Brothers Karamazov. The former remain love stories from female perspectives, while the latter tackle national history or existential themes.
Beauvoir identifies female prudence as leading to mediocrity, hesitating to pursue grand ambitions.
This self-limitation concedes victory to men. True greatness requires bearing world's burdens, something no woman has achieved. As per Beauvoir, she maintains women must transcend gender differences and adopt universal perspectives to become genuine creators. Only then will gender equality emerge. Beauvoir's advice summarized: work essential, avoid male imitation, pursue supreme excellence. Finally, let's examine Beauvoir herself. The second sex author became feminism's iconic practitioner. Rejecting marital constraints, she maintained open contractual partnership with Sartre, remaining child-free. She achieved philosophical literary excellence, existentialist pioneer, and Prix Goncourt winner. Her second sex inspired millions globally. She achieved intellectual zenith, not just interpreting, but transforming the world.
Yet we must acknowledge Beauvoir remained constrained by patriarchal influences.
Public fascination with her relationship with Sartre overshadows her legacy.
When introduced to China in 70s, her work rode Sartre's fame, labeled Sartre's wife, rather than independent thinker.
This irony needs no apology. Beauvoir understood patriarchal realities better than anyone. She knew gender equality remained distant, having set revolutionary standards in The Second Sex.
Her feminist ideals remain aspirational goals rather than achieved realities.
Progress feels fragile, but surrender means failure. Justice demands persistence. This concludes our second sex analysis. Find keynotes below until tomorrow.